2.
Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Real Estate Talk with Lisa Jeffery. I'm your host, Lisa Jeffery. I am a active realtor with Fairfax Realty. I work out of the Greenbelt office at 10210 Greenbelt Road, Suite 120. My broker is Rodney Bennett, and our office number is 301-794-9400, and you can reach me at 301 542 5168. Now, I wanted to start by telling you a little bit about what the show is about. At the show, what we're trying to do is to provide education and to empower you to be able to go out and purchase your home or sell your home, engage in real estate investment, just to be knowledgeable about what's going on in the marketplace with respect to real estate. I want to acknowledge my team today. First and foremost is Miss Reba Burris Barnes with Reba Associates International. She is our publicist for our show. She puts out those beautiful announcements that you get with all the great links to find out where the shows are, links to our guest pages. And you can reach Reba if you're interested in being on the show. You want to add something to the real estate conversation, definitely reach out to her and she'll get the information to me so we can have a conversation about you having a conversation with us. The number is 301 420 0000. And also like to thank our photographer, our team photographer, Nicole King. All right. So there are a couple of supporters that I want to mention today because they're helpful in helping us get the word out and just supporting what we're doing here at the station. And one is Mr. Stephen Underwood. He's the founder of Viral Referral Vertical Marketing Network. It's a mouthful, but they do a great service in terms of promoting your business, in terms of marketing, and he's also has his website, which we had him on before to talk about, and it's still a good season to talk about what he does, but providing a way for you to purchase and get cash back on your purchases so you save a little money and also be able to purchase some of those items at a discounted price. So definitely check him out. You can reach him at 202 590 2448. Also, want to thank Miss Wasita McKinley. She's the founder of Sisters United, and they have a food bank. They're a 501c3, and their website is www.sistersunited.net, and that's SISTASUNITED.net. And they are always looking for donations of non perishable items. They're a resource in the community that you can go to. And for additional information as to how to get those items to the food bank, you can reach her at 240 423 0948. All right. So, wanted to um, also let you know where to find the show because I know some people say, well, I couldn't find it, and or some people tell me that I've heard about the show, I want to watch it, but I'm not on Facebook. So we have a couple of places you can find the show. If you're watching live now, you're watching on the WBGR Wellness Network, and you can always go back there for past shows. They're all stored there. You can just look it up and click on the link. We also post on the show's Facebook page, which is Real Estate Talk with Lisa, and we normally post right after the show, so you'll have it another place to go as well. If you have someone that you want to share the show with that does not have Facebook, you can go send them to the YouTube channel, which is Real Estate Talk with Lisa. Just spelled out spaces and everything, just like a regular sentence. And we try to upload those shows right after the show as well, so you have those places to go and find the information. If you need to email me, you can reach me at Lisa Jeffery, Jeffery, 38 at gmail.com. All right. So we're in the month of December. Some of us are Christmas shopping. Um, you've got all the holidays. You got Hanukkah. You've got Christmas. So it's that season, of activity, and it's usually a season of financial activity. We're all out shopping, spending money. But here we're talking about real estate. So even in the midst of this season, you have to kind of keep an idea of what you're going to be spending so that you can stay on your budget if you're looking to buy real estate. Then maybe say, well, I haven't really decided yet what I want to do. I'm not sure how to get started. The first thing you have to do is assess where you are. Even if you're out at that mall and you get lost, you get separated from your group, first thing you have to do is go to the map and figure out where you are. So you want to figure out where you are financially right now. I'm going to steal Brett's quote again. He was on with the HUD piece a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying that he felt like anybody could own a home, that it was a matter of time plus motivation would equal home ownership. And I would probably add to that in that time underneath that in parentheses would be maybe preparation and and education. So during that time period, it's not just time is passing, which he did elaborate on, but during that time period, you're getting educated about the process and you are preparing based on what you're learning in terms of changes that you may need to make in your lifestyle, those sorts of things. So, as we're kind of getting into the latter part of December, getting ready to start the new year, it's not too early to start assessing where you are. Look at your budget. If you don't have a budget, it's just like with real estate. Now's always the time to buy. Now is always a time to start looking at your finances and seeing where you can cut, what you can do. We have had and will continue to have lenders that will give you insight into the programs that are available to you. But sometimes you need to already have decided what type of mortgage payment you could afford to pay. In some cases, you may be able to purchase a house for the same amount that you are paying in rent. In some cases, if your rent is extremely low, then you may need to have an eye on a slightly higher price range. So you need to know by doing your budget, analyzing the cost that you're already paying, what that amount is for you. Then you can have realistic expectations about the type of property that you're going to buy. Because if you're like me, before I started in real estate, I would be online. I would be like, oh, I love this house right here. I like this house over here. Oh wow, look at this is really great right here. But my looking wasn't really based on what I could afford. It was just based on what I liked. But if you start to look at where you are, then that can help inform you what you can get, and it can motivate you in terms of, hey, I can afford this, or it can motivate you to making lifestyle changes, whether it's jobs, whether it's an entrepreneurial idea that you've been harboring but maybe not moving on, to say, hey, I can use this idea to increase my income because I don't particularly like where my finances put me in the housing market right now, but I really believe I should be a homeowner. I want to be one. So maybe I need to step out and take this step to position myself better for home ownership. So now's a good time for assessment, and we'll continue to bring you lenders. We'll continue to bring you programs that promote you becoming a homeowner. Now, there are a lot of fears also that people have when they're looking at purchasing a home. And, when you're talking about motivation to buy a home, you want to think about your mindset. What's in your mind when you're thinking about that? Because sometimes what may hinder us is not necessarily our finances, but maybe some of the thoughts that we may have. And again, information is the way to kind of get us in the place where we need to be. So those fears may be debunked. They may just be myths. They may not be real items. In other cases, they may not have to have the strength that they have in their minds. They could still be concerns, but not still have that place of fear that keeps you from moving forward. I want to discuss a couple of fears that are common for buyers in the marketplace. Sometimes you want to know, am I going to have enough money left over after I buy this house, or will I, to buy furniture, right? You're thinking about that because you're like, okay, I've put out all this money. I need this down payment. I need this. I need that. We're going to be living in the house for 5 years with no couch, no living room furniture, anything. Okay, the way to avoid that is back to the point that I had before, which is making sure that you have a budget, you have a realistic idea of what it's going to cost you to get into the house. It's also taking advantage of the financing programs that are available to you and knowing where they are and which ones apply. We've had lenders that talked about layering different programs. So you may have a grant that covers the down payment, but you're still struggling with the closing cost help. But there may be a different program that covers that. So, based on your individual circumstances, your loan officer may be able to add the grant here, the closing cost program there. Your agent may be able to negotiate some closing cost assistance from the seller. And so that all goes together to make a package for you. And that would allow you to get into the home without being, becoming destitute just to get into the home. Some people say house rich and cash poor, but that's not necessarily the situation that you want to be in. So be upfront with the loan officer when you're talking to them about where you want to be. Okay. Another thing is buyer's remorse. Sometimes you're really excited about a house, but then you're like, oh, I don't know. What if I don't like it tomorrow? What if I don't like my neighbors? What if it's a lot of what ifs. But you can help with that by maybe driving in the neighborhood, different times of the day and in the evening to kind of get a feel for you know what you see going on. It's hard to tell just from the outside what's going on, but that's one way to kind of get familiar with the neighborhood, and really focus on the things about um, the home, what you're expecting from the home. And if those things are present, you know, that may help curb, your concern about, being regretful of your purchase. Now, sometimes that regret may be tied into maintenance costs. Like you're concerned about, man, I was in the apartment and something happened, toilet back up, something wrong with the sink. I call maintenance, they come down, it's a done deal. So now you're stepping out. You're like, I gotta cut the grass. I gotta get the leaves out the gutter. Who do I call? Something breaks down. Um, that's a legitimate concern. So that's not an unreasonable fear. That's a legitimate concern. So how do you handle that concern to where you can be comfortable with it? Well, there are a couple of ways. First of all, you're going to get a home inspection when you purchase your home. Now, that home inspector is focused on finding problems with the house. Is there a problem that he can't find? Yeah, there's some things. I mean, he can't see through walls, okay? But there are major things that he checks. He checks your heating system, your plumbing system, your roof. He takes a look at your foundation. All of those things that would normally your plumbing system, all the things that kind of would normally give us a little bit of concern. He checks that out. So as you're in your contract for your house, those are things that you can become aware of ahead of time and address with the seller through your agent and negotiate either the repair of those items or a possible credit toward fixing those. So you address those up front. Another method that is often used to kind of take that edge of concern off with respect to maintenance costs is a home warranty. And there are several out there. When you speak to your agent will be able to, if you're not aware where they are, can show you the sites where they are, and you can pick a home warranty. Oftentimes, a seller will offer you a home warranty. Your agent may negotiate the inclusion of a home warranty with your purchase. So that's something to talk to your agent about. If it's something that's reasonable in the transaction that you're involved in, that's something that you could speak with the seller about. But having that home warranty, what that does for you is it gives you, and each of them are different, and they outline in them what they cover. So what happens is if you have a repair, instead of looking at the plumber and looking at your watch and saying, "Man, how long is he gonna be there? He's been down there a long time," and you're paying him by the hour. What the home warranty allows you to do is pay one price to have the plumber come out and will cover the repair that you have. Now, based on the terms of the warranty, if there's something that's more extensive than what the warranty would cover, it's usually stipulated there. But normally you would find that the terms would be more favorable than if you had to go out and get a plumber or an electrician yourself. And that's the benefit of having a home warranty. You normally pay for them once up front. There are some that cover pre-existing conditions at the property. Some do not, so you want to, read it over carefully. But that's something that can help kind of give you a peace of mind. Say, for instance, if you're, a single woman or a single man, because not all men are handy. They're not all, do-it-yourself fixer-uppers, and you may have those concerns. So this can give you a little peace of mind going into the transaction. Um, One concern is, well, what if I can't um, make my payments if something happens to me? Um, Most mortgage companies have a department for you to talk to. If you're having struggles with your payments, the key thing there is to let them know early if there's a challenge so that any type of workout can be handled early, before it gets to the point of no return. Sometimes we think we can handle everything ourselves, and we'll get ourselves in a situation where it makes it more difficult for someone to assist us. So my opinion would be to ask for help as early as you know that you're having a situation. Sometimes people are concerned about loss of property value. Will the value of my will I end up being upside down in my mortgage? Um, I don't know that you can always protect against that, um, because property values do go up and they go down. Um, over the course of time. You would like to think that your property is going to just continue to appreciate, but we know that there are ebbs and flows in property. Um, but your thing is, you want to have your agent work with you in terms of giving you comps when you're looking at your property. You're going to get an appraisal for your property. Um, so when you're purchasing, you know that you're purchasing at a good price, and just continue to maintain your property so that from that standpoint it retains its value in terms of the upkeep and those sorts of things. And the things that you can't control, don't let that keep you from purchasing, because at the end of the day you still have your property. Let me say, one of the things that I was when I was doing some reading preparing for today's show, um, when we're talking about home ownership, uh, and talking about challenges to home ownership, one of the challenges is for the younger set, um, not seeing as much, maybe less than half the type of home ownership that you see with older people. And we're talking maybe at the level of people in their 30s. And one of the factors for that, um, has been student loans. Student loans have prevented a lot of people from going into the marketplace to buy property. Um, and that's a challenge for them. Now, Maryland has the Smart Buy program where they're actually um, taking your some of your debt for your student loan and rolling that off, paying, including that in your mortgage, so that that's no longer an issue for you. And that's a good program there. There are specific properties that are being sold or on the market as part of that program. So that may be constraining for some people, but that is an option. So I would encourage you to look into that. And I will provide a link to the page on the show's page at the end of today's show. So you can take a look at that if that's a concern. I did speak with one person that was interested in doing that, and they actually found a property. They were looking at putting an offer in that would satisfy the requirements and kind of relieve them of that burden at the same time. Now, one question that I get a lot is about rent to own properties. Um, and I had to do a little research on that. I myself have not had a client that had a rent to own property, but I've had questions about that. I remember as a young person, a younger person, I know I'm still young, I know, being curious about that. And I realized, though, that in my mind, I was comparing it to just like you go to a place and get a rent to own television or furniture, and at the end of the time frame, you own the furniture. But when you're looking at, from what I gathered in my reading, when you're looking at a rent to own type property, what it is really a rent with an option to purchase at the end of the agreed upon rental time frame. Oftentimes, you pay a cost up front to have that option, and that goes to the seller or landlord. And then over time, your rental payments are a little higher than maybe the standard rent in that area, to with the excess being put aside to reduce the price when it's time for you to actually buy that home. Now, the challenge with that is, you're still going to have to qualify to purchase the home at the end of the time frame. So you can't just be renting if it's a credit issue that's preventing you from purchasing. You need to be looking at doing the things that you need to do while you're renting. You also have to make sure that you can make those rental payments so that you don't put yourself in a situation where you're looking at a rental eviction, because then you've lost that opportunity in most cases where you're going to be able to purchase that home. So you've got to be stay on top of your rent to make those payments, and you have to be prepared to purchase, because if you're not able to purchase in those types of situations, you don't have that option to get your money returned back to you. That's money that you've just spent. So I would advise you to have, if you're looking at something like that, if you're working with an agent, of course, your agent would advise you with respect to real estate, but also maybe have, your real estate attorney look at the contract as well to determine if that's really a vehicle for you. Um, because things can happen at the property. The landlord could perhaps go into foreclosure him or herself, which leaves you with a lease, but kind of takes away your option to buy the property. So you want to be careful about going into those types of situations, because you can rent and take your if you're thinking about that you want to do that, you can also just rent and put aside your money and save it, on your own. That's always an option that's available to you. Now, when we're talking about fears in terms of getting into real estate, I addressed buyers earlier. But sellers have fears too, they have concerns. Um, One concern is, getting the best price for their property. And a lot of times, sellers may look at what the property value was when they purchased it, but times may have changed. In their particular area, there may be new homes with more amenities that may be garnering a higher price. Their home may need some updates. So that value may not have been retained over time. The property may still be valuable, but it may not be at the place where they may think it is. So that's why you have your agent, your listing agent, to really go through and look at what the property values are in the area, give you an idea of what it's going for. Um, One of the things that you can do as a seller is sometimes you may get an appraisal just for sales purposes. If you really have a price that you really think that this property is worth, if you have an appraisal that's supporting that and it's listed out there at that price, that can be a useful bit of information for buyers coming in, that when you're saying this is the price that we want for our home, and we've had it appraised and it's appraised at this price, or it's appraised over this price, but this is the price that we want for the property. That's something there. Now, sometimes sellers are concerned about maintenance issues just like buyers are. Sellers are concerned, what if they find something? Or, will I have to do repairs for this property? Again, you could have a pre sale um, home inspection. And we're going to have a home inspector come in and talk to you about that, as well as appraisal in terms of the pre appraisals, just to give you an idea of what that entails, and a little more in depth about how that can be valuable for you. But knowing ahead of time what's going on in your home, you can make the decision whether you're going to sell your home as is, or if you're going to go ahead and make those repairs already, knowing that if your home inspector found them, it's a good chance the buyer's home inspector is going to find them as well. So you're not blindsided with something that you didn't know was there, and you weigh the pros and cons as to, if you bought your house new and you've been in it 5 years and you've kept up the maintenance, that might not be an option that or a concern that you have. But if it is, there are ways that you can alleviate the concern and make your concern based on actual facts instead of what ifs. Now, the other thing that I wanted to talk about um, with the upcoming shows that we have coming up, we're going to do a second piece on HUD properties. Yes, Comfort and Bread are coming back next week. They're going to give you a little more information about the seminar. The seminar is still going to be held in January, but they're going to add some more information to the conversation about that. So anyone that you know, that's, especially if they're a teacher, fireman, policeman, someone that you know that's been talking about they may want to invest in property. HUD property is a great property for that. Have them tune into the show. If they aren't able to tune in, make sure that they know that it's going to be broadcast, because they're going to share additional information. We're actually going to have a contractor on the show as well that's going to talk to us about with some before and after pictures, because I don't know about you, sometimes when I look at a property, I may say, I know it's got potential, but I'm not that visionary person that can say, okay, yeah, we're gonna tear out this kitchen and we're gonna get these granite countertops. I have difficulty visualizing it. That's just not my area. But I work with people that, man, I'll go in with them and they'll describe what they're going to do and how they're going to put it together. And when I see the after, it's beautiful. So sometimes if you're looking at that property, you may not see the potential. You know it's a good deal, it's the pricing seems good, but you're really having trouble visualizing how it can be what you want or what's necessary for it to become what you want. Is it affordable for you to take it on? So those are some of the things we're going to talk about when we do that piece in terms of um, buying and doing renovation type work, especially looking to be an investor. Um, you want to see how that process can work for you. So you get your house at a discount, you get your repairs done, you put it back on the market, and you're able to walk away with that profit. So we're going to share that with you on our next show. Another show that we have is going to be the show for the 28th, where we're going to be speaking with someone. You know, we've been talking about hope, we've been talking about motivation, we've been talking about home purchase. So we're going to be talking with a young lady who, over many obstacles, finally is a homeowner. And she's going to sit down and talk to us a little bit about what her journey was like, um, the sense of satisfaction she has now. She may cover some of the myths and the concerns that we've talked about from the buyer standpoint. We're going to talk about the program that she was in, the ups and downs of navigating that, and just what words of advice that she would have for those of you going into home ownership. Now, I wanted to look at a couple of statistics. I pulled them up. Just wanted to review them with you before we end the show today. As you know, the market has been steadily increasing. So now the numbers for the DC metro area for November, and the DC metro area, it covers Prince George's County, Montgomery County, the district, um, Arlington, Alexandria, and Fairfax counties, Falls Church. Okay, so that's what when we're talking about the DC metro area, that's the area that we're talking about. Now, based on some of the MRIS statistics, what we're looking at is the current DC Metro median house price is $425,000, and so that's gone up 4.4% from the previous year, about $18,000 more this year, and it's gone up about 2.9% since last month. So what that's telling you is that house prices are continuing to rise. So that's something that we're seeing because of scarcity, because of not that many sellers being in the marketplace. Okay. Now, the sales volume though has also increased by 11% in the area, so it's up by 2.15 billion dollars. So that's a good increase. So that lets you know if you're in real estate, if you're looking to put your house on the market, you know you have a good opportunity. Even though we're going into what people may think is the slow period for real estate, it's still a good time to put your house on the market. Um, it's still a good time to get in to buy a house because real estate is still moving, it's still growing. Now the um, new listings, we had 4,000, a little over 4,000 new listings. Now they're down a little bit from last month by about 25%, but a lot of that speaks to going into the winter season. Okay. Now the average for the list price received, meaning if the list price was put out, let's say $200,000, on average, the houses that were sold got at least 97% of the list price. So that means a couple of things. Number one, the houses are being priced appropriately. So a lot of times, as a buyer, if you're looking at a price and you're thinking, well, let me see if they'll give it to me for, 20% less. That may be a challenge in this market because people are actually, sellers are pricing their properties at a price that the market will bear. It's accurate pricing, as evidenced by this information. And the average number of days on the market is about 21 days. Okay, and that's 2 days lower than for last year this time. So 21 days. So that's about 3 weeks. Now you may see shorter or longer time frames depending on um, what's going on with the property, how it's priced, things that may occur while it's on the market. And don't always be discouraged as a buyer by the number of days on the market because things can happen. A property can be on the market, and let's say you have 30 or 45-day close window. Of course, we know closing date windows can be smaller, but let's say it's about 45 days, or maybe it's a renovation loan, so it's 60 days, and something happens in that transaction while it's off the market, that transaction doesn't take place. So then that seller puts that house back on the market again, but you may see that time elapse. So you say, well, wow, I saw that property on the market, 2 months ago when we were looking. Must be something wrong with the property because it's still on the market. That's not necessarily the case. But if you like a property and you have an interest in it, I would encourage you to move quickly to make your decision, because in our market, you may not get a chance to take a second or a third look at the property. Okay. I was looking at some of the concerns that some of our buyers had come in with. One of them was concerned about um, if you're planning to purchase and you have credit score issues, how can you increase your credit score? Or, are there shortcuts? A lot of the lenders have programs that can help you with increasing your credit score, and they'll give you advice in terms of what you can cut. A lot of times, you may not know exactly what's the best piece to cut or to pay off, or which thing to pay off first. But if you go in and you talk to them and lay your paperwork out in front of them, they're able to give you that advice. So, I just want to recap. We've talked about getting ready for next year, looking at your expenses, at your budget, getting prepared to buy. We've talked about some of the concerns that a buyer or a seller may have going into the market, and how you can kind of ease some of your concerns so that you're able to move forward, and to have with that easing of your concern the education, getting the information that's accurate so that some of those concerns won't hamper you in still being able to move forward, and making sure that in moving forward you're making the right moves. We talked a little bit about what's going on in our marketplace now in terms of the housing market, the pricing of houses, and we have talked about what our upcoming shows are going to be. Next week, I want you to join us with our guests. Look forward to having you. I want you to share the show, share what we're doing here. Like I said, we have an exciting lineup planned for you going all the way into the new year. I did get confirmation from Marcus Daniel. He's going to join us on January 4th and give us um, an insight into commercial real estate, what's involved with that. How do you do commercial real estate? What types of lenders do you have there? What are the trends in commercial real estate? And as I mentioned before on last show, he has an outstanding group on Facebook, Prince George's County Real Estate Development News, which gives you just up to the minute information about what's going on in Prince George's County in terms of the ongoing development, financing, groundbreakings, and he's going to share a little bit of that with us as well. We've got some information about can you be a building owner? You're thinking, well, I'm just trying to get my first home, but can you be a building owner? Yes, you can. And Brian Washington's going to join us the second Thursday of January and talk to us about just how that's possible and what prime lending has in place to help you get to that point. Our third week, we're going to be talking with Reginald Derrickson with O-Line Bank. We're going to be talking about some of the grant money that's coming into the state, and some upcoming events tied into that, and getting you ready to receive that money and where to go, how to apply, who can apply, and all of the fine points of that. So, like I said, we're always working here at the show to provide you with up to date information. If you have something on your heart, something, question that you have, feel free to reach out to us. Again, Facebook is Real Estate Talk with Lisa. You can reach me on the phone, 301 5168 is my direct number. If you have something that you want to add to the conversation, something you'd like to present to the audience, you can reach Reba at 301 420 0000. It makes it so easy to remember how to say. So that's how you can reach us. If I have anyone out there that has a question, you can reach me now. We're going to be on for about 2 or 3 more minutes before we close out. But if you have a couple of questions for us, you can reach us at 301 429 9247. That's 301 429 9247. Now, while we're waiting to see if anyone does have any questions about the topics that were covered today, just wanted to know um, when you're looking at your home purchase, what what type of what type of atmosphere do you want? Because when you're visualizing what you want for your home, you think about, okay, I want this type of furnishing. Do you go to the stores? Do you look? Do you take pictures? Because I have a friend, I'm going to share her story. I'm sure she won't mind. I remember when she was getting her home, and it was just dirt at first, just dirt. And she would come. I'd go by her office because we had some business dealings, and she'd have her pictures out. She said, "Look, look, this is my house." It's like it's a stick in dirt. And she said, "I know, isn't it great? You know, they're building it, they're building it." And week after week, she would bring pictures in. But she used to go to the new home model, and she would walk the model. She'd visit about every week, and she would imagine herself sitting at the table and in the dining room and entertaining her guests. She would go up and she would check out the bedrooms and imagine herself being in the bedroom because her particular purchase, just to even have the contract, to have the stick in the ground, there was a lottery. And even before the lottery was drawn, she would go out and visit the property just to be in the mindset that, she wanted to have a home. And when she was picked for the lottery, she was one of the last people picked. And so she has a scrapbook now from start to finish of getting her home, of all of the stages. But it all started with her just going out there and going to the model and thinking, this could be me. So we don't have a call for today, and that's fine. I just want you to keep in mind some of the topics that we covered and the upcoming shows. And when you're thinking about real estate as a buyer, think about, this could be me. When you're thinking about selling your home, think about the fact that it may be going into wintertime, but the statistics are proving that it's a good market for you to put your home on the market. Okay? So I look forward to talking to all of you next week, and I'll see you at the show.